What you just saw was the improper way to thread a needle. My wife's flipping me the bird now. So you see the end of the thread? You don't go trying to stab that needle with the thread. You don't go doing that. You pull that you pull that thread down into your fingers, right? You just barely leave it protruding. You take the eye of that needle. Bam! So I use these little black paper clips to hold my work together. Do my stitching, get rid of the clip, do my stitching, get rid of the clip. And I use what's called a lock stitch. It's hard to demo it with one hand, but I put the needle through. Well, I double my thread, tie a knot in the end, put the needle through, put it through the loop that's on and it goes over. I go through, come back around, go through, put the loop over the needle, pull the needle through, come around, go through, put the thread over the needle, pull it through, come around, thread over the needle. And you end up with that lock stitch. My camera won't focus very well. That's just what I've settled on. There's a million ways to do it, but that's how I do it. On a lynx and beaver hat, I try to take the pieces I'm using out of where they're out of the hide in such a way as the grain, the hair, will lay the way I want, point the direction I'd like. See, this is going to be beaver on the inside of the cheeks and the nape of the neck. It's going to be a lynx tail forehead with beaver, a strip of beaver belly right over the eyes to help keep that long lynx hair out of the eyes. So generally, this piece comes in three pieces. The cheek flipped over for the other cheek, and then the center. Well, my pattern is notched in the middle so that if I got fur I want to use but it doesn't fit, I can do it in half. And the only reason you know that is because I told you. You can kind of see here. Maybe I shouldn't have told you. Once you put it on, you won't even know. So the nape of the neck is the belly fur with no guard hairs out here towards the edge where it'll stick out near your face. I did use some back, some guard hair beyond that, and it all kind of points away. Got a bit of a cowlick. Using this as the shell, the suede side of it, or excuse me, the grain side, not the suede side. I wanted to use the grain on this one. I kind of like the color. We'll see how it turns out. Here are my patterns for a hat. This goes from the top of the head to under the chin. That's the shell. Flip it over for the other side. It's the cheek part. Here's the back. Just one piece cut out for the back of the head. Here's the forehead. I have a one-piece pattern for short fur, but for long fur like lynx, I want a second piece to do the short fur right over the eyes to keep the long fur out of your eyes. This piece is fur. It's the nape of the neck. Mates up on the inside of that. Cut one piece for that. Here's the other fur piece. It's the cheek. Flip it over for the other side. If you wanted, you could do it all fur and have a complete fur hat. I'm doing a leather shell on this one. This purple leather. The grain, not the suede. I want the grain on this one. I like it. And for the liner, I just use the top half of this pattern. And then the one piece pattern here for the forehead. Forehead, back, sides cut 2. Flip it. This is the one where you saw the beaver belly on the cheek and nape of the neck. It's notched in the center so that if I got belly fur I want to use but it's not big enough for a one piece, I'll trace half and use a straight edge, this straight edge on the pattern to make that line. And I'll cut it out in 2 pieces, sew it together. It adds a little bit of work, but it also helps save your smaller pieces of fur. So I've got here a hat. Here's the liner for the crown of the head. Some short beaver belly over the eyes. Long lynx. Nah, it's not a lynx butt hat. Anyway, the way I do it is I sew them not just inside out, but the inside's on the outside. And there's a hole, a seam left unsewn. You reach in there. This is in another video. I forget which video. It's one of my vlogs. But this video here is a kind of an independent sewing video. And you pull the hat through itself. I guess they call it birthing. And when you're done with that, you'll have the outside of the hat on the outside. And then you sew that that seam shut. So I got this hat. It's not just inside out. The insides are on the outside. Hole left in the lining. I think it's called birthing, where you sew something inside, not just inside out, but the inside's on the outside. Then you pull it back through itself. If you left the seam wide enough. Do it careful because you don't want to split the seam. Nobody showed me this. I figured it out. And I've seen other people's hats, and from what I can tell, they're doing the same thing, different way. And a different style, from what I can tell. Make some adjustments to the lining to get all the lining up in the head. This hat is sewn with a welt in the seams, even on the forehead. I put a welt in this one. Kind of like it. Gonna put it all the way, gotta get all the spots. There we have it. Turns out it was a lynx butt hat. Couldn't remember what I was working with. But it's got the welts in it. You can kind of see, if you know what you're doing, you can tell that middle back piece is 2 different pieces. And again, if you know what you're doing, you can tell you can tell where the seams are. Maybe I shouldn't show you. Anyway, I picked this one to have the kind of longer, brighter hair on the outside around the face. Maybe I'll put this on a mannequin head and show you.